Turning now to the abortion battle with a focus on Texas. A judge there is set to hear arguments in a lawsuit that could overturn the FDA's approval of the pills used in medication abortion.
And the anti-abortion group behind this lawsuit is asking the judge to order the health agency to take the pill, mifepristone, off the market nationwide. NBC News correspondent Dasha Burns joins us now from outside the courthouse in Amarillo, Texas. Dasha, good morning. We know that there is a bit of controversy surrounding the judge overseeing the case and some of past writings of his. Explain to us what's going on there. And as we look ahead to this actual hearing, what are we expecting to see?
Also, Ellison, there are a few factors here. First of all, the hearing today is going to focus on a request from the plaintiffs for a preliminary injunction to take that drug you mentioned, mifepristone, off the market while this case proceeds. So if the judge rules in their favor today or sometime after today, that drug will be taken off the marketplace nationwide while they make their arguments in the other parts of this case. The controversy around the judge, there's been some accusations from critics of this case, accusing the plaintiffs of doing what's called forum shopping, meaning intentionally filing a lawsuit in this jurisdiction to get in front of this judge because he is a conservative judge. He's appointed by former President Trump. And so the folks who are in favor of abortion rights are concerned about what that might mean for his ruling. The other factor here is this hearing today. The judge did delay making this hearing public. We know that on Friday there was a status conference with the lawyers on both sides of the case where he asked those involved to keep the hearing quiet, not to make it public, because he was concerned around safety. Some are saying, though, that he was violating First Amendment rights, constitutional rights, guys.
So, Dasha, no matter what the ruling is, talk to us about what the impact is it'll have on medication abortion, and really what are both sides saying and arguing in this lawsuit?
Well, look, if the judge rules in favor of the plaintiffs, it would disrupt the process and the systems at so many clinics around the country, because medication abortion accounts for more than half of abortions in the U.S. And so this would have a significant impact. There is a misoprostol-only option, meaning one of the drugs. This case is challenging the 2-drug regimen used in medication abortion. You can use just a 1-drug regimen, but it is less effective. Clinics are also already overwhelmed because of so many of the post-Dobbs impacts in so many of these states. And so it's just going to add more and more burden onto these clinics. Take a listen to what one expert told us.
Over half the people deciding to have abortions in the United States are choosing medication abortion. And if it was taken off the market, you would have an incredible chaos existing, as clinics and patients would have to scramble to reschedule appointments. Right now, you can get medication abortion by telemedicine, because, again, the Food and Drug Administration has found that to be safe and effective to be able to be done. This would throw absolute chaos into the system right now.
And so, to be clear, Joe, the plaintiffs are arguing that the FDA should not have approved this 2-drug regimen for medication abortion. They are arguing that it is dangerous to women and girls. The defendants in this case, the FDA, the manufacturer of the drug, say that's not the case, that it is safe. The data shows it's safer than Tylenol. And so we're going to just have to see how this plays out today and when we're actually going to hear from this judge, which is a big question. We don't know when the ruling is actually going to come here. Guys.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.